Hey guys, Curry here, and today I'm going to be looking at the best and the worst rappers from the year 2022. I did the same video last year and you guys seemed to like it, so I'm bringing it back for a 2022 edition of it. Before I get started, I just want to let you guys know that I'm not going to include rappers that are obviously great but didn't really do anything this year from a musical standpoint, like J. Cole or A$AP Rocky for example. I'm also not going to include rappers that dropped this year and that we all know are great, like Kendrick Lamar with Mr. Morales and the Big Steppers. I'm going to include people instead who broke out this year and are not getting as much recognition as a great rapper like Kendrick. But other than that, let's just get straight into the list. For this, I'm going to do the worst rappers of 2022 at the start of the video and the best rappers of 2022 at the end of the video. It hurt to put this rapper as one of the worst rappers of the year. It truly did. He is one of my favorite musicians of all time, and I have all three of his famous trilogy on vinyl. But it's Kid Cudi. On the surface, it might look like a good year for him. It looked like he dropped 3 albums, with 2 of them being well received by most. However, once you look deeper into it, you see why he's on this list. The 2 albums that were well received was an old mixtape that he made in 2008, and a compilation of his biggest hits with one unreleased song that was made in 2015, which he put onto streaming services at the end of the album. These are great, don't get me wrong, but they are not new albums. They're a 14-year-old mixtape and a compilation of old songs. The one album he did release with new music, however, was dog shit. Plain and simple. It sucked. I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt because it is Kid Cudi after all. He took everything that people criticize him for, like the offbeat vocals and distorted beats and the at times spotty mixing, and made it the whole fucking album. The features were almost as boring and lifeless as Cudi on this project. And yes, before you dickheads in the comments say it, I know that this album was a soundtrack for a Netflix show, which is almost as dogshit as the album. But there have been multiple albums that are made for shows which are very good, so this is not a cop-out or a bailout for Cudi. Cudi's also released a few singles this year, which were all mediocre at best. He had one single for the new Sonic movie that made me genuinely question if he sold his soul to the devil and is now facing his reparations for it. To make a shitty, lifeless song that tries to be catchy for a bag from the makers of a movie. No disrespect to Vince Staples. I don't think this is Cudi's worst year ever. I think 2016 is a lot worse because of one very obvious reason, but it is close to being it. It doesn't help his case that he had a lot of drama with Kanye at the start of the year either, but I have hope that he'll step it up in 2023. I think he'll rebound musically in the coming year and hopefully he makes better decisions, because if he doesn't, he is fucked. Second worst rapper of 2022 is someone who should be expected at this point if you're an OG watcher of this channel. If you are, congrats to you. You already know who it is. It's Tom McDonald. Honestly, I haven't even listened to any of his songs from this year before I started recording this video. Hell, I didn't even know if he released any music this year before I started recording this video, but I feel like it's an obligation, it's my fucking duty to shit on Tom McDonald in the worst and best rapper series. So before I recorded this video, I checked his Apple Music to see if he had any albums released or any singles, and I will say one thing, he releases a shit ton of fucking music. There's a lot of criticisms I can have about Tom McDonald, but I will give him credit where it is due. He is always in the studio cooking up something. Doesn't matter if it's good, he's cooking up something. Okay, back to my point. I checked his Apple Music to see if he had any music released from the year, and he had a collab album that he had with another rapper that I'm actually going to be making a video about. So if you guys look at his Apple Music, you guys can get a good hint about what the next video is going to be most likely. And I listened through a lot of it, and it was so dog shit. Like, it was actually torture. I honestly think if the US used the fucking audio from this album against the Vietnam soldiers in the 70s, we would have won the Vietnam War. This shit almost made me want to rip out my ears. For a good comparison of this album into words, think of your slightly racist uncle that says some kind of controversial things at the Thanksgiving dinner table and has some racist undertones underneath every take he has, and put it onto a song, and you basically get this album for around 40 minutes plus. For some actual criticisms of the album, it is so repetitive, it's brain numbing, and it's very dull. The flow of it really doesn't make any sense between the other rapper that he collabed with and Tom himself. It was very awkward for a lot of the album. And yeah, it was just corny once again. I think I've said that maybe 5 times talking about Tom McDonald, but it's true. Okay, enough with my Tom McDonald hit piece. I'm going to move on to the last worst rapper of 2022, and I think it has to be Jack Harlow. Jack Harlow might have honestly had the most disappointing album of the year with Come Home, The Kids Miss You, which came out in May of this year. It was a mix between pop and rap, but not in the good type of way, but more in like the I'm trying to squeeze as much money out of this album as possible by making every song built for TikTok dances and audios type of way. The worst part is it actually fucking works. The song First Class, where the chorus is essentially Glamorous by Fergie and Ludacris, has well over 1 million videos using the song on TikTok and other social media sites. The success of songs like First Class is a bad sign for music as a whole in the near future, if it isn't here already. More and more musicians are building their albums so it can have a popular TikTok sound, which increases streams and thus gives them more money. A similar thing has been done with Steve Lacy when he released a sped up version of Bad Habits so he can get more money because the sped up version of Bad Habits was a trending sound on TikTok. His target audience on Come Home, The Kids Miss You are obviously women. No breaking news here. Specifically, women who do not care how good the music is, just who is singing it, which seems to be a good thing for rappers who present themselves as pretty boys like Jack Harlow. I'm going to give him credit though. Churchill Downs featuring Drake is a very good song, I will not lie. However, that one song does not save the cash grab that the rest of the album is, unfortunately. Alright, I'm done with shitting on rappers who make more money than my entire family tree combined. I'll now start praising rappers who make more money than my entire family tree combined. Remember, I'm only going to be talking about rappers who do not get as much recognition as the Kendricks and J. Coles of the world. There were so many artists that broke out this year and had great album runs, so let me know in the comments if I miss any and I'll be sure to respond to you guys as I introduce the first best rapper of 2022, which is Pusha T. Although he is a relatively consistent rapper and is praised by almost everyone, I feel like he doesn't get as much recognition in the mainstream as he should, which is going to be a recurring theme in the second half of the video where I'll be talking about the best rappers of 2022. This year, Pusha T released one of the better albums I've ever heard from him, Almost Dry. From top to bottom, it is filled with crazy wordplay and enough cocaine references to make Scarface foam from the mouth. Songs like Diet Coke make me realize why I love Pusha T's music in the first place. Some of the wordplay, double entendres, and flows are just insane. On top of that, there were the features, which were good additions to the album as well. The rollout for the album was great, with many cryptic posts that hinted to the project on social media by Pusha T and the featured artists before the album's release. To sum up the year for the King of Coke, also known as Pusha T, he does it again and nails an album that should be in Grammy contention if it is not already. Moving on, my personal pick as one of the best rappers of 2022 is Joey Badass. Man, what a time to be a Joey Badass fan. Finally releases a sequel of 1999, which is considered one of the greatest mixtapes of all time. It has been ages since he has dropped an album at all. He released his last album in the year 2017. Although 2000 isn't as good as 1999 in my opinion, it is still a very good and intriguing look into how Joey has matured since his first mixtape, which was made when he was 17 fucking years old. Insane. Some of the songs from 2000 are very emotional, such as Survivor's Guilt. Survivor's Guilt dives into the darkest parts of Joey's mind as he tries to handle the tragic and sudden death of his friend and musical partner, Capital Steez, who killed himself by jumping off the top floor of a building when he was only 19 years old. The suicide is shrouded in some mystery, as Steez tweeted, and right before he jumped off the building. This, along with many other events that led up to his death, make Joey have Survivor's Guilt, which is a very appropriate title for the song. The death of Capital Steez and the guilt that follows with it is woven through this album beautifully. His features were great on this album as well, with Westside's Gun verse on Brand New 911 being my personal favorite. All in all, this was a great sequel to a legendary mixtape that ended up meeting a lot of people's high expectations. The last rapper who had a great 2022 is definitely Lucky. Although his style of rap is for sure not for everyone, I feel like it pleased everyone who listened to it and gave him a chance, except that bald-ass Anthony Fantano motherfucker, bro. But this pick might be a little biased since I have liked Lucky's music for a long time before 2022. Lucky had a great 2022 for multiple different reasons. The main reason is that he obviously dropped the album in September, Flawless Like Me. It had great beats and his stretched out vocals, which sounded like he had just drank the biggest, most liver-harming lean cup ever, were on point. He had a great song with Future, Babyface Ray, and more. There were plenty of features scattered in the album, and all of the artists who were featured excelled on their respective song. Although the album still covers a lot of drug and addiction related problems that Lucky suffers, it still has many clever lyrics about various topics. This includes family, money, working, body image, relationships, etc. Along with the album, Lucky released many singles throughout the year. All of them were decent to even great and had many intriguing vocals and a catchy beat paired with it. Despite the fact that Lucky has been making music for almost a decade at this point, 2022 could be one of his best years yet, and he has no plans to slow down in 2023. Well, that is pretty much it for this video, guys. I went over the 3 worst rappers of 2022 and the 3 best. Shout out to Metro Boomin as well. Of course, he is a producer and I couldn't put him as one of the best rappers of 2022, but his newest album could genuinely be the rap album of the year in my opinion. I don't know though, I guess time will tell on that. If you guys enjoy this video, please leave a like and subscribe. I know I haven't posted in a minute, but I'm already making 2 other videos that should be out soon. Other than that, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Yeah,